Hello, everybody out there.
What's up?
Are we seriously live? Okay, we're going.
We're live.
So, hello, my name is Travis. Let's go around and introduce ourselves.
I'm Mark.
I'm Lucas.
I'm Derek. I'm Doug.
And behind the camera,
What up, y'all?
Rashad. Alright, so I'm going to be nerd-rating. Is that what we're calling it now?
Yeah, that'll work.
The nerd-rater for this
Go
episode.
for it.
So, we always kind of try to start off... What was it?
I'm glad it stuck.
Yeah, we try to start off with a question or opinions, and I think this time the question is, if you could meet any comic book writer or artist, who would it be? And I guess I'll start off since I'm the one to put the question on there. No shocker, I put Todd McFarlane, and there's a reason why I picked this question, because 2 weeks ago, after issue 301 came out, he broke the record, longest running creator-owned comic. He actually did a free comic book signing in his hometown at the Alamo Draft House with certificates of authenticity, like completely bring whatever you want me to sign, let's do this. And then he had a showing of the first Spawn movie in all the theaters at the Alamo Draft House. I was like this close to buying tickets to go to Arizona for the weekend. And I was like, well, it's not really free if I'm spending $100 on flight tickets and a rental car and a hotel. So I was like, you know what? Hopefully he'll like this idea and he'll go around to some of the other Alamo Draft houses and I'll catch him in Nashville or wherever the closest one is. But
Is there one in Nashville?
I
didn't think so. I mean, that'd be awesome, because...
I don't know. If he went to, like, if it's not an Alamo Draft House, if he went to, like, Nashville or Atlanta or did some, like, tour where he was going to go do a book signing, I've always wanted to meet him. He seemed like the coolest guy when I've seen him at the comic book conventions, like, on his Facebook page. I'd really like to shake his hand and say,
So I know you're a big fan of his from Spawn. Have you read any of his other runs? Like he did Spider-Man?
I actually just bought his full Spider-Man run.
Cool.
So I plan on reading that.
And after that, go do his Infinity Incorporated run. That's where I was first introduced to him.
Okay.
It's his early style, so you'll definitely see.
Yeah.
There's going to be a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
I'm excited. I've heard of his Spider-Man run being very good, so I didn't know about that one. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
I liked his Wolverine story that he did with the head Wendigo in it and everything.
Yeah.
That was like his second 5-issue miniseries. The first one that he did, where he did like a spinoff of the Kraven's Last Hunt, was, you know, it worked.
Yeah.
It was good, but you could definitely tell it was the first thing. His first issue that he did, it was just exciting. You could almost hear the music in the background, because it should have been a movie, really.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited. Yeah. I mean, I like Todd McFarlane. I think he's a great writer, great artist. So, but all right, Mark, what do you got?
Mine was George Perez, and there's a caveat because I actually have met George several times.
I was gonna.
Yeah,
Yes.
I met him when I was a kid. At probably about 15 years old, I went to a Comic Con in Atlanta, and I was at the hotel waiting to check in, and he was checking in, and I walked up to him in full geek mode, fanboy, and said, "Are you Mr. Perez?" Because, you know, the mark of 15 is not the mark of today. And he was so gracious and so kind, and I got some things autographed by him later on at the show, and then met him again at the last Dragon Con that I went to, and had him do an illustration for me.
Wow.
And got to chat with him while that was going on, and again, just super, super kind and authentic. And then went to one of the sections where he talked about his time at DC, and it was just amazing. So, so what I would actually love to do is take him to dinner and have just a great private conversation. And
kind of wine and dine him kind of
yeah,
situation.
just, you know, pick his ear about some things and heap tons and tons of praise on it, because, you know, he is, you know, without a doubt, the best comic book artist ever, period. No arguments. And really one of the best creators, because it was a lot of the series that he's strongest with, he was a co-plotter or a co-writer as well, and so he's just a great storyteller, which is, I think, what's missing from a lot of books. There's not a good relationship between the artist and the writer. So
Awesome. All right, Lucas, what you got?
Yeah, mine's like a surprise, a shock too. Jonathan Hickman. I would love to sit down and like just listen, talk X-Men with Jonathan Hickman. But I mean, I would also like to just talk to him about his whole process, because he does these epic, like, world building, operatic, just story driven, like, just things, you know. I mean, East of West is like that. Avengers, New Avengers, that whole run before, and then, you know, Secret Wars, and then, you know, what the stuff he's done with X-Men. So I would love to geek out with him over X-Men, and then talk about, like, his process and all of that. That would be really interesting. I was gonna put, if I didn't put Jonathan Hickman, I would put Chris Claremont, but I actually did meet him and actually got to sit down and listen to him talk, because he came to the Huntsville Comic and Pop Expo, and they had VIP tickets to where you could go. Yeah, you're welcome for the free advertising. And they had VIP tickets, and you could go. And so, like, toward the end of the night, he literally was just sitting, and, like, there was like we just pulled up chairs in a circle around him, and he talked about his whole process and stories.
So this wasn't a panel. This was like
no, this wasn't a panel.
Yeah.
This is like impromptu, like me and like maybe 10 other people sitting around in a circle with Chris Claremont talking X-Men, and you know, things that he would have done, you know, and different storylines that, you know, he thought he would do, things he actually had decided and then ended up changing. I mean, it was just really interesting, and he's really gracious. So yeah.
Derek?
So, full disclosure, I'm not a big follower of anybody specifically, just because I can just kind of freestyle it, and I like what I like, and I don't care for things that I don't care for. So, when I had to pick somebody, that was kind of hard, but I Googled comic book writers, artists, and I selected Jeff Johns.
Okay.
And the reason I selected Jeff Johns was because in the photo I saw he was fairly cute. And so,
Yes.
therefore, I selected Jeff Johns, which is a completely non-deep reason like the rest of y'all have.
But when you said his name, I
good.
thought, well, he's hot, so that's reason enough.
Yeah, so that's my only reason.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
it. It has nothing to do with his
Everybody's
comics. His comics could be shit.
He's actually a very good creator.
He's actually very good. Yeah, his Green Lantern stuff is top notch.
And his
Okay,
type
well, there
stuff
you
is
go.
really
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right.
But he's cute.
So I'm interested to find out about this one, Doug.
I've actually met most of my heroes at different conventions, and one of them that I was really stoked to meet. Okay, first of all, whenever I meet one of my heroes, I turn into Chris Farley interviewing Paul McCartney, and it's painful for everybody. And I should do research on some of these people before I do anything. And Will Eisner is the guy that I'm going to tell a story about. I met Will Eisner when I went to the San Diego Comic-Con in 2002. And I had a contract with God, which is considered to be the first graphic novel ever. And it was a gift to me, and that person that gave it to me inscribed it. And I was at the CBLDF, Comic Book Legal Defense Fund line, and you had to pay to get in the line. And so I paid whatever it was. And I think it was like a membership or something like that. And I got online, and going back to what I was saying about you should do research on your heroes. You should find out what they're like a little bit. Will Eisner comes from a time where you really didn't have fans, so he doesn't know what to do with them. He has no frame of reference for this whatsoever. And I found that out the hard way, because when I gave him the book to sign, I was like, man, this is it was a birthday present from someone that's really important to me at the time. And he opens it up, and he apparently that's where he likes to sign, was the inside of the inside front cover. Yeah. Well, the person that signed it first ruined that for him, so I had to find another page, and he was clearly put out, clearly annoyed by this. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching this guy who is pretty much like done a lot for the art form. He has made the art form what it is, really, in my opinion. And he just looks at me. He does this. He's like,
Giving you the side eye.
here.
Wow.
That's what he did.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't give a shit. He's a fucking agent. He can be ornery as he wants. I found out later in a book called Eisner and Miller, where Will Eisner and Frank Miller interview each other for an entire 300 pages. That is beautiful. I loved it. And in there, they talk about fans. And they talk about what they do with fans. And Frank talked about what he did with fans. And I'm sure Frank's great with his fans. I'm sure. Well, Eisner told Frank exactly what he thought about his fans. And I was like, wow, I guess I got off easy. You know? Wow. But, you know, Eisner was an artist. He did this, that, and the other. The Comics Journal did a interview with his wife after he passed away, and his wife said that how he handled his fans was completely embarrassing. Wow. And she would always be like, you know, you should do this and not do that. And then he got better later on in life. And I think that that's accurate because later on at that show in 2002, I was waiting for a panel to go. It was a panel about comic books and teaching them in the classroom. And I was outside and I was eating my lunch. I was by myself and I was drawing some stuff while I was eating. And I saw this old couple sitting across from me. And I really couldn't see who they were or what they were doing. I just thought these people clearly took a wrong turn because they're at a convention place where all these people in costume are here. Everyone's everyone's like under 30 here. And I don't maybe they had a yacht or something, okay? And so when I get up to go throw away my food, I see that it's Eisner and his wife. And they're just, you know, sharing a meal together, you know, and they're just talking about whatever they were talking about. And I just thought, wow, I want to be that. That's what I want to be. I want to do that. And so that's what I think of when I think of Will Eisner, is that lunch. That's what I think of.
Cool.
So, never meet your heroes.
Yep.
So, a couple shout-outs to Lawson. Couldn't be here again this episode. Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Magali.
She said
I'm
hello
not
in
running,
chat.
Jennifer.
Mark is not running enough. But he did just eat some fried chicken, so just so you... No, I'm just kidding.
I did.
Had some chili, though. Had some great chili before the show.
Lots of beans, fiber, and stuff.
Very good for you. So, moving on to book club. This week was Derek's pick, which was The Vision by Tom King. So, I'm going to let Derek, why don't you start us off?
So yeah, my pick this week, as he just said, was The Vision by Tom King. And I think we just did like volume 1 is probably what most people did. But I really enjoyed it. I did not think that I would when I first started reading it because historically, Tom King, sorry Tom, I wasn't a fan.
Like Tom's watching this show.
Yeah, well, he could be. You never know.
Someday he will.
I'll put him in the tag. We'll see.
You better, put him in the tag.
Definitely tag Perez.
But so I didn't go in with high expectations, but I really, really enjoyed it. Even though it had some very strange parts and some kind of macabre elements and things of that nature. The reason I did, I think, partially was because The Vision has always been one of my favorite characters, and I'm not really sure why, but I started reading the Avengers back when he was in it with the Scarlet Witch when they were still, you know, kind of a thing, and they were always interesting to me, and I was always intrigued by the whole android kind of being human but not quite human and that sort of thing. So that was something that I really enjoyed. So this book to me was a whole new spin on it, obviously, but it kind of brought up to me a lot of points about what is humanity, who's more human, things of that nature. And I really kind of enjoyed it, and I thought it was really well done. So I hope that the majority of people enjoyed it. But I think what we can do now is we can do kind of like a fast round. Thumbs up, thumbs down, who liked it? Thumbs up. All right, a thumbs down. Mark?
I liked it. Thumbs up.
Mm-hmm. Yep, thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. So let's hear from the thumbs down.
Okay, so I said last time, Lawson has recommended several different comics to me, and 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100 actually, they've been great. This one is one that he recommended to me. I read the first book, and I didn't care for it. I mean, to me, I don't know, maybe it's just the plot itself. I mean, the writing was fine, the artwork was fine. The plot of a family of superheroes basically trying to live a normal life, to me, I didn't buy off on it. Like I wasn't eager to read the next issue after reading, each issue.
So a family of androids just didn't feel real to you?
No. And then trying to feel normal didn't fit in with my expectations. And you know what? It's funny because you actually mentioned something that I thought about on the way over here. I've never been exposed to the Vision before this comic. So like all the backstory with him and the Scarlet Witch.
Okay.
I think that would have made this story much more different because they reference the Scarlet Witch several times in here. And they talk about, where they got the, I guess, essence or the life for the different family members. And I think if I had that backstory, it might have been a little bit different. Cause,
I think that probably would have made it, somewhat of a difference.
Because I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that him and Wanda were married, and they did have kids, and they did have like a normal life.
Yes and no.
Essentially.
Yes and no.
But then, something...
As normal as it could
real
be.
quick.
As normal as it could be.
But then something happened, and I'm guessing...
Well, their children were... They thought they were real, and then they weren't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Wanda and all her mess. Wanda's always causing problems.
Because she alters reality, and so she wanted kids.
okay.
So she kind of created them.
Yeah, she wanted
By
kids so
accident, she
bad
didn't
they
even
came
know.
out of thin air.
So that might have been part of the reason why I just wasn't sold on the concept. That might have changed my opinion of it.
Well, just
It's
like
fair.
everything
You don't have to love everything.
everything I read by Tom King, I'm left with the execution is great, but I don't like what he's doing, and I don't understand why he's doing it. Because,
Like the story part of it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
again, it's just kind of like he's taking heroes and making them killers, which is
Right.
the exact same thing he did with Wally West over in what was it called?
Deceased.
Oh,
No.
Heroes in Crisis.
Heroes of
Crisis.
Crisis.
Crisis,
Yeah.
And then you had Deceased's guy, they're zombies. So it's just like this recurring theme of his, and I'm just kind of, I was weary of it as I was reading it. Now I did find that his characters were interesting.
In this one, you mean?
In this, yeah. But because I've read it now and I kind of know what happens, as far as like who survives and who doesn't, that was kind of like a lot of foreshadowing that, that kind of affected how I was reading it.
Yeah.
I did think that the inclusion of that witch was pretty cool.
With the flower.
Yeah, with the flower and the cat and all that was really
See, that I
weird.
didn't understand anything about that, and I'm guessing I won't know
But
that.
That was his mother. That was
It
his
was Agatha
mother-in-law.
Harkness.
Yes.
His ex-mother-in-law.
Oh,
is who
yeah,
that was.
Again, yeah. So
She kind of raised the Scarlet Witch, kind of maybe, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, I thought it was well executed, but I think I'm with you on kind of the story being a problem, but for different reasons. I like the idea of these synthezoids or whatever he's called now, trying to establish normal life and then dealing with the type of things that, whether it's racism or homophobia or anti-Semitism that another family would deal like in a similar situation. So that part of the realism I liked about it, but ultimately I was kind of like, ugh.
There
Do we
were
have to get so many people killed as collateral damage because of dumb mistakes? And then you take the Vision, who is traditionally a really wholesome, trustworthy character, and you make him unnecessarily gray. So I have a problem with that too.
Yeah.
So wait,
there
you
were
had a thumbs up though, right?
Yeah, because it was a well executed book.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like
There-
I
there
liked
were-
it, but there were problems I had with it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
My
sure.
problems are with Tom King.
Gotcha.
So there were
Fair,
some
that's fair.
there were some parts of the book that I really did like the whole relationship with Vision and his daughter after when he's trying to heal her with Tony Stark repairing her and the whole I'm going to turn off your ability to feel pain because this is going to hurt, and he's like, no, that might mess with my ability to save her. Like that connection, that emotion, that scene was really beautiful. I thought that was well executed, but again, it's just to me it was just the plot, the concept as a whole. Just I didn't get why this was necessary to have. I don't know.
It wasn't, and that's all of his books. Deceased. That is one of the most pointless things ever. It's like a maxi series about all the DC heroes being zombies. What is the point of that?
Zombies are big. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just kind of and Heroes in Crisis. What was the point of Wally killing all these people?
Yeah.
None.
Well, so that was our book club
So-
segment. Oh, did
sorry,
you have
was there-
anything else?
Well,
Oh no, I'm definitely going, but after Lucas.
I'm like, I think he.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Keep
We
going.
did- yeah, my bad. Go for it, man.
No, I mean I enjoyed
leaving
it.
out?
I will agree. Yeah, it is. So I don't want to say cliche, but it is kind of it's an old trope. It's the robot trying to become human and all that. It reads like a Twilight Zone episode, which is why I think it's kind of interesting. And is it supposed to happen in continuity?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
so.
that's
It
the
is
thing.
totally
I
continuity.
think as far as I've read, I think it works better as an Elseworlds type novel.
I can see that.
I haven't finished it yet. I've read, I read the first half, and I bought, the hardcover, so I have both, and I'll finish. I want to finish the story. It was interesting enough that I could finish the story, but it is a little, like you said, it's a little cliche. It's a little on the nose with some of the references as far as, them being treated as outsiders, and so the references to, Merchant of Venice and bringing that in, and different things like that. But on the whole, I did enjoy it, and I'll probably finish the hardcover and see what happens because I'm interested in what happens.
Doug?
So I thought that this actually expanded on Isaac Asimov's rules of robots, and I thought that it really accomplished that goal. I liked your Twilight Zone reference. I thought that was because I actually find normalcy to be like completely terrifying. So when
Right.
Vision and all of his family are trying to be normal, it's just freaking me the fuck out. I mean, I can't.
Yeah, you're right.
I can't handle it. And then like when he's showing these people that don't want to be there, but they're doing it because they have to be the good neighbors. I moved around a lot.
I mean, what's creepier than that?
Well, I mean,
Come on,
it's just them being nice and coming out of the door like that. It's like it's fine. But like the people going over to the house at the beginning, and they're trying to be normal. I moved around a lot as a kid. The first people that show up at your door after you move, those are the people you don't want to be around. Okay? And Tom King gets it, and so that sold me because the way the husband and wife are going at each other like that, I'm sitting there and going, okay, well, this tells me what kind of neighborhood we're talking about. It's really a suburban type like stereotype, and Tom King did not hide that part, but he put all of that inside of an Isaac Asimov, like the rules of robots, and then he blew them up. He blew up all those rules went to hell, and I thought, now, full disclosure, I'm not a fan of Tom King. Okay, I'm just not, but. Dude, actually, I felt like he actually did a pretty good job with this one. And the thing that got me the most was, and this kills me because he actually did all the shout outs that are like over talked, overdone, with talking about how Vision's based off of Simon, talking about Ultron all the time. He played that down so much so that Travis wouldn't get the backstory, because usually there's always like 2-3 word balloons about Ultron and Simon and the Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper, you have to know who the Grim Reaper is when he gets killed, and Tom King did not establish that.
He does mention it later. Like he kind of pieces it together later.
Yeah.
But him just showing up, like, because I'm not as familiar, so him showing up out of the blue,
that was more obscure.
And like I was like, who is this guy?
But,
like, what is this? And then, like, later on, they kind of talk. He kind of says some things, and then I can't remember if maybe Vision says something, but it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense why he was so. Why he took it so personally.
He makes a comment about who they got the people's essence for the kids.
Yeah.
No,
Or for the daughter.
For them.
Oh, it's
the
them.
kids are made up of their combined essence.
Oh, okay.
So
Sorry.
Vision came
I
from
misremembered
Wonder
that.
Man, which is
Simon
Wonder
Williams.
Brother.
Simon Williams, yeah.
And she came from
Wanda.
That's right.
Wanda.
She came from Wanda.
Yeah,
They do.
And I thought,
they didn't say that
Simon's
explicitly,
brother, right?
Like, did they say
sorry,
it
say it again?
explicitly?
Grim Reaper is Simon's brother, yeah?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
That's right.
But they didn't, and that's actually what I'm getting at. Is that right there? And I don't think that's necessarily a fault, but it's not great either, because people like Travis that haven't grown up reading West Coast Avengers.
Well, yeah, and it was a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, the whole reason why I even got into Vision was because I was at a Stars and Stripes as a kid, and I had 2 sergeants behind me talking about Avengers when I had an X-Men book in my hand. I put that X-Men book down and grabbed Avengers.
The Avengers, yeah.
Because of that.
The other
It was
fun
really
thing
good
about,
then, too.
about reading this week, with the Grim Reaper getting killed in it was that last week I read the new issue of Valkyrie, and Dead Grim Reaper is featured in it.
Oh, really?
Oh, I haven't been keeping up with that.
And I was like,
I only read the first one.
and it, so I, when I read that, I didn't know how he died or anything. So when I read this, I was like, oh, well, look at that puzzle piece fitting in.
So I liked how, like, at the beginning I'm sitting there going, man, I really wonder if this if it's Virginia, right? His wife is Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. I was wondering if like Virginia is like based off of Wanda and how that's gonna like turn out. Well, it turns out great. And so like when the couple that I mentioned earlier who show up, the first neighbors show up to talk, Vision casually says, "Oh, this is my wife." You know, kind of like going, "This is my wife," right? And the artist like actually makes Virginia look like annoyed at that. And I love how, because you don't see this a lot in today's comics, where you actually see more than just one thing happening in a freaking panel. She actually looks really upset, and there's like a point where she's like, not cool with how Vision's talking about her to these people that they don't even know yet. And that gets dropped again at the very end, where she's like, "Could you please just say my friggin' name instead of saying wife, this, that, and the other?" And the whole reason why I love that is because at the beginning of the book, I was sitting there wondering why, like, I was wondering how this was going to mess with Wanda, because I love Vision and Wanda being together. I love that. And in the middle of the story, Tom King writes how they break up so well that I'm like, you know what? Wanda can just go off. She can be fine. I like them. I like him separated. I like Virginia now. I'm Team Virginia at this point. And she had done all this crazy shit by this time, and I'm like Team Virginia all the way. And at the very end, right before she buys the farm, she basically says, "I need you to call me by my name," or something like that.
Say my name.
And I was just like, wow, man, it was just nice. And so I just thought that I loved it. I thought it was great.
I just thought of something else, and then I'll shut up about it. But I wonder if there was any kind of thought process when he was writing it or thinking about writing it of comparing them almost to like a Frankenstein's monster type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
There's,
yeah.
You know
so
what I mean?
in the hardcover, there are actually a lot of notes and extra. Like the first half is actually just the comic itself, and then the second half they've got like storyboards and scripts and all this kind of stuff. So I'm excited to kind of dig into that.
The level
and
of
to
detail that they
see,
went into for
what,
the
what all
fonts
is there.
that was out of control.
Yes.
And did you notice? I just was flipping through it again. Did you notice all of the panels that are bright red or orange? Did I miss something with that? Are those flashbacks or what is that?
I think they are.
Okay.
What?
I think they
don't know
are.
what you're talking about.
When they do
Okay, hold on. I'll find one and I'll show you.
when they do the scenes with like Simon and them like doing like the Christmas scenes and Agatha is there and all that stuff like that. Yeah,
Which one?
I thought
No, that's
Oh no, that's
that's
her.
that's
she
real
is.
time.
That's her telling what happened. So yeah, that's kind of a
Oh,
yeah.
a
So it's like a
flashback.
flashback type of thing.
Yeah, because that's her telling the story to Vision of what happened.
It's
Yeah.
interesting that it's all orange like that. Then.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not real.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
weird.
I think for the most
Cool.
part, everybody but me really loved this comic. So I'm the
That's all
oddball out this time.
Right.
So if you would like to follow along with us on the next book club, we've got Doug made a selection, V for Vendetta. I'm actually excited. I went out and
Never
bought
had it.
this. I went out and bought this like today after I saw that on the on the storyboard, on the notes for the show. But
Yeah.
any little intro you want to give for it?
I gotta say, man, maybe my other one would be a lot more fun. This is gonna be like, this is gonna make you feel some shit. When me and my brother always have like discussions about like how bad things are, and our litmus test is always, is it a toilet paper letter type day? And when you read this, you'll understand what I mean by that. So, toilet paper letter day.
Does this follow along with the movie that came out pretty well?
Well, there's a lot of stuff in here that wouldn't been able to go into the movie,
Okay.
but I think that the movie was very, very.
I love the movie. That's why I'm
Yeah.
excited to.
It was,
to read
yeah, I
the
enjoyed
book.
the
Yeah,
movie too.
yeah. The movie definitely
Captures the tone.
captures this pretty well.
All right.
So that'll be it for our next show.